asked from time to time, well, one, why do I pack so much gear around? And the simple answer to that is because I take lots of people with me. I don't take all of this stuff with me whenever I go anywhere. I tend to pack for the trip. I won't lie, I tend to overpack a little bit for a trip, but I'm of the better safe than sorry philosophy. But the most of the gear that I have now is I have the common gear that I will take when I am out with 4 to 6 people. I probably won't take as much gear if it's just if it's just 2 people. Whether or not I take the trailer is very dependent upon what it is I'm going to do with that myself or that one other person. But typically, if there's more than one rig involved, the trailer with all the goodies is going to go. So some common staples for the longer trip. Of course, I tend to carry my chainsaw. When I did the Washington trip, I really regretted not having a chainsaw. So I rectified that for the Oregon trip, and it came in really handy one day in particular. These are the cots that I like to use. They're fairly cheap. Well, they're fairly inexpensive. They're easy to set up, and they're compact, and they hold, you know, a large adult. So those are nice. Of course, I carry multiple water jugs. I'm out here for the day, so I didn't fill them all up. But at the same time, I needed to fill space in the trailer. This is a full water jug I've been drinking, me and the dogs. Of course, I have fuel for the chainsaw. I didn't know what I was going to run into, and I had the space. I figured I might as well. I use a lot of I have 2 of these. These are the REI roll-out little tables. They're about this high. They work well. To do any serious cooking on them, if you're cooking for a lot of people, you have to bend over a lot, and that can hurt your back after a while. So they work great if you're a space saver and you need the space savings. Otherwise, I would invest in a larger table. This is a box that I won't lie, I just put in here. The previous configuration had coolers in here, and because I have the Dometic fridge freezer, I don't really need to pack the coolers. So I'm trying to figure out a way to fill the space, because there's a lot of space efficiently, and I just happen to have this, and I just threw a bunch of stuff in here. It's got lights and stuff in it. Air mattresses. I've found that most people don't like to sleep on just the cot. It's still not quite comfortable. It's not quite warm enough. So I have some of these inflatable air mattresses that I put on top of the cot, and it might be a little thin. You know, I don't even know if it's an inch thick when it's inflated. It might be an inch thick when it's inflated, and it makes all the difference in the world. This is an REI alcove. It works really well with the REI Habitat tents, the long circular, the circular roof. It works really well with those. The arch on this just kind of sticks over one of the ribs on the tent, and it drains really well. This is what I used. This is what I've used as an awning until I got that one, of course. I will probably on longer trips with multiple people still pack this, mostly because it's portable and it adds more shade. I'm less worried about the rain, I think. You can bundle up with the rain, you can sit in a car, you can put a jacket on, but the sun is hard to escape. So I like to have the ability to have more shade. Cooking, I have I have a Scottle. I really like my Scottle. It's easy to click on. You can basically serve off of it. It just works really well. And then of course you've got the legs. Not good to forget the legs of the Scottle. And then I have so this is one of 2 boxes for the kitchen. Like I said, this kitchen is meant to feed and support 4 to 6 people. Inside here we have the French press, we have bowls, we have pots, we have plates, measuring cups, spices, bowls, like cooking type bowls, the utensils, both cooking utensils and eating utensils. And then there are 2 basins in here for being able to do dishes. The next box, right now it's fairly empty. This has miscellaneous kitchen stuff in it. So this is what we put the Coleman stoves in. Right now it's got 1. I tend to, on the longer trips, especially if we have 6 or maybe more people that we know are going to be involved, we will probably pack the second Coleman stove, just to give us a little bit more flexibility, some more burners. So that's in here. Wet wipes in here. I usually keep an extra propane tank or 2 in here, partially because I can use it for a burner to do coffee when I'm by myself, or if I've got a tea on the big propane tank, which I'll show you in a minute. And if I am using both of the Colemans and I want to use if I want to use the Scottle, this is what'll get me by. A new addition this year. This one happens to be from Walmart, to try it out. I don't think REI has one anymore, but this is one of those like foldable kitchen type deals. I've set it up once on the back porch just to kind of see how it works. I'm going to set it up again today. I'm going to set a bunch of this stuff up today and just kind of show how the camp might go together sometimes. But it was more of a try. We're going to see if it's durable enough, if it lasts. If it works well and it doesn't last very long, maybe I'll try and find a more durable version. But it's very compact and it actually expands very, very well. A piece of kit that I have regularly when I have multiple people is I have one of those big white folding tables. It works great. It works so great, in fact, that it is in the garage covered with stuff. Chairs, of course, you got to have chairs. I've used a lot of different types of chairs. Most of them recline too much and you end up sitting back, and if you're eating and you spill your food and you make a mess, and they're great for lounging by the campfire and maybe lounging and having a drink with your buddies. But if you want to sit and be comfortable and eat and maybe have a normal conversation, I really do like these front runner chairs. I've had them for a season now. There's a little bit of rust in them, but overall they have held up very, very well. There are more bins of these black bins. This one was just kind of a filler to fill a gap. This one is one that I store food in. So we tend to store our dry goods, our non-perishables in bins in the trailer. And then we stack them based on need, right? So when we look at our meal plan for the week or for the week, usually meal plans are a week at a time. What we'll do is we'll take the stuff that's at the end of the week and if we can, we'll push that to the back in the harder to reach parts of the trailer, so that because we don't need to get around them for the first few days. And this just happens to be one of those empty bins. This is a box of parts, fluids. This has parts for the chainsaw. It has an extra air pump. It's got bar oil. It's got air filters for both Jeep. It's got tools, gloves, glue, screws, bolts. Just kind of, all that stuff that you hope you don't need for the most part. So the last thing is the propane tank. I'd like to get it out of the trailer. I'd like to get it on the outside of the trailer, on the top of the truck or something, but right now the best place that it sits is inside the trailer. This is the half tank size. I think it works better than the full tanks, just because it takes up less space, and I don't tend to need the full size tank anyways. We on the Oregon trip, I think we topped this off halfway through the trip, after cooking off of it twice a day for 5 or 6 or 7 days. I don't remember exactly when we topped it off. But when we topped it off, it took less than a gallon. This is a 2.5 gallon tank. So clearly there's not a whole lot of need for the larger one. If I could fit a larger one on the outside, would I do it? I probably would. I don't want to say that I wouldn't. But at the same time, this works really, really well. It's just in a milk crate so that it's square. It doesn't shift at all. It's just like the perfect fit. And then it's got a T on it, and then I've got 2 hoses. I just leave one valve. I just leave the valve for the stove on one side, and then I leave the standard one for the other side, and we can hook up the second stove easily enough, or we can just plug it in and put the burner for the scuttle. And that is an empty trailer. So, of course, on the back of the truck, we have fuel, water, fuel. What I put is water and what I put is fuel. Sometimes it's 2 of one, sometimes it's 2 of the other. It just depends on what I'm doing and how far away from civilization I'm going. If I have the trailer, I'll always take 2. The Hemi's a pig, and if the Hemi has to pull the trailer, then I might as well do it. Believe it or not, the Commander the gas mileage doesn't change all that much when it's pulling the trailer. So that's nice. There's a bigger difference between the trailer and the rooftop tent, I think, than, yeah, so I carry a Trasharoo. I've had this Trasharoo, I don't know, 3 years now, maybe. I keep my siphon kit in the top. I've just got a little hand pump siphon kit that I keep in the top. I air it out and I let the fuel evaporate before I put it away, but it's still, I like to keep it away. It's empty. It served me really well. It's starting to show its age. It's got some of this is kind of torn out here. There's some holes in it. I use it for when I take just the Jeep. I'll throw firewood in there on my way out sometimes, or I'll stop and I'll get firewood just so that I have it as guaranteed dry starter. So of course I have I also have the Dometic dual zone fridge freezer that I've only used a couple of times. I've liked it so far. I do need to remember to wipe it out when I'm done with it, condensation, and pull the drain plug so that it can drain a little bit better. One of the things that I will need to remember to do is that when it's going to sit for, when I'm not going to go out for more than a couple weeks in between trips, I need to remember to take it out so that I can prop it open and leave it open and probably clean it. But so far I'm pretty happy with it. I'm confident that it's going to be able to store the food for the same 4 to 6 people that goes out for the same types of trips. Planning for about a week between this and the non-perishables that can go in the dry boxes. Clearly, it's not the most efficient way of setting up camp, but I've got shade for the moment, and that's kind of what's important. But we have the annex. See, I'm still doing it. We have the awning with its room, and a problem that I didn't deal with. Clearly, dry is not dry, so hopefully it's all dry now, and then I can clean that off. We have the Thielsen. I've left it up because it seems to be tossing better shade over to where I've got the little living area set up. We've got water over here. All the bags. Obviously, there's tons of bags. We have the new testing out of the kitchen here. This is the box of the actual cooking bits. So this is the pots, the pans, the bowls, the silverware, measuring cups, cutting boards, etc., etc. This is the new work surface. It seems to be a little bit higher than the tables, which you can see over here. There's a little bit of a shelf down on underneath the workspace that you can put stuff. I've just kind of thrown some plates and some bowls down there. I didn't like how low the stove was, so I went ahead and put a food box underneath it to raise it up a little bit. And this is a pretty good height. And then of course we have the down below we have the propane tank. I have the scuttle. Again, they're not all always set up, and every situation changes. Got some more workspace. Some more workspace next to this, and then just from a height scale perspective, you can kind of see how everything kind of flows. And then I've got the alcove. It's throwing some pretty good shade. I'm actually pretty happy with it at the moment. And then moving around, I've gone ahead and just set up a couple of the front runner chairs with a table, just because you got to eat somewhere, and I like to get out and explore, but at the same time, I like to be comfortable. So that's kind of it. I'm gonna pack all this up at some point here pretty soon and head home. I got lots of stuff to do. Lots of stuff to get done tonight. More now that I've found some issues. But I hope this all helps. Any of it. Feel free to ask me any questions about anything specific. I can always get more video on another trip. Next trip's going to be Memorial Day, so it's going to be a while before another trip video, I think, just because of time.